Legend Hall of Famer Barry Switzer, Oklahoma football coach with me, David Smoke, 365 Sports. Of all the games that you won and played, and you were in many of them, was the emotion of beating or losing to Texas different than the others?
Well, let me tell you, David, I took the Oklahoma fans. The Texas game is the most important game we have on our schedule. Every year, it doesn't matter who we play, it was always Texas, and I knew that. And the reason for it is that we have so many people that are fans and people that are Oklahoma supporters and graduates of Oklahoma, live in the state of Texas and make a living. And they're all over the state, especially in the oil and gas business. And they're graduates of the University of Oklahoma. They're some way tied to that profession. And they're all over the state of Texas and Houston and Dallas and Panhandle, Permian Basin area. And that game is so important to them to support the University of Oklahoma because they live there. They want to be able to hold their heads high for 65 days of the year and where they work, where they go, where they play, and all that. That's important to them to beat Texas. And I understand that, and I understand it's the way the people of Oklahoma feel. But for the coaches and us, Nebraska was our biggest game because beating them usually gave us a Big 8 conference championship. Mm-hmm. And that's was to our coaches. Hey, that's our objective. Our goal every year is to win the championship, contend for the national championship. And to do that, you had to beat Nebraska. So if I had to lose one game, I'd rather lose to Texas as a coach and beat Nebraska and win the championship. I don't want to beat Texas and go lose to Nebraska and lose the championship. So I approached it that way, but I want to win both of them. Hell, I want to win them all, David.
Yeah.
But that's how important the Texas game is, and it always has been. And when I arrived in 1966 in Oklahoma, 58 years ago, I was an assistant coach from Arkansas with Jim McKenzie. And I came with him because he was my mentor. I coached with him in Arkansas. We won a national championship at Arkansas in 1964. And I came here. I knew I was going to come with him wherever he went. So he'd played for Bear Bryant at Kentucky, and was a hell of a guy, hell of a coach. So I came here with him, and Oklahoma had not beaten Texas in 8 years. That's why I bring up this story about Jim and me coming to 66. They had not beaten Texas in 8 years. We took the same players that they had and went and beat Texas the next year in the Cotton Bowl. And so I've always known, Jim has always told me when I was a coach, you play the game in 3 years. You play it physically, mentally, and emotionally. And I'm going to tell you, that emotionally is played from the neck up. So it's more important how you play the game from the neck up than it is with all that other 260, 70 pounds you got below that neck. And it is so important because it's how you approach the game, and humility is only 7 days away. In Alabama, I found that out this week.
Oh, yeah.
Humility is only 7 days away. And I've always known that, and I always warn my teams before they play this team, hey, we got to prepare this week. We know everybody thinks we're going to beat their ass, hang half on it on them. But I promise you guys, we got to approach it like we're playing Texas and Nebraska every week. I never worried about being ready to play Texas or Nebraska. I was always worried about those schools that we were 30 points favorite. And that's the ones that I was scared of, just like what Alabama experienced this week.
When I remember your comments when Oklahoma, Texas decided that they were going to join the SEC, and that was in 2021. At that time, Oklahoma looked like they were in pretty good position. Texas was trying to find themselves. A decade of just like not wilderness, but they just weren't able to get over the top. Are you surprised at what Texas is doing now and where they are?
No, I'm not. Texas has always been. I've always said Texas ought to contend for the national championship every year. If I got the best players in Texas, I wouldn't have to recruit nationally. Texas is as good a football team, players, as any place in the country, and they got a lot of them. And I used to make a living in the 70s. If we were the winningest team in college football, Oklahoma was. We won more games that decade than any team, and we did it was Texas high school football players. Half our team was from Texas. I was recruiting the blue. I signed. Remember when the Dallas Times Herald did the top of the blue chip list when the Southwest Conference coaches voted on the on the best players in Texas, and they would have a list of them in the Times Herald, and they had to get at least 5 votes to make the 8 votes. They had to get 5 of them from the Southwest Conference coaches to make the list, the All-Star list. Well, in 1975, we won the national championship. We won it in 74. We won it in 75, too. But in 74, after winning that national championship, being undefeated, I go to Texas, and I signed 15 of the top blue chip players in the state, of the 19. Think about that. You take that list back in 1975, and you look at it, Oklahoma signed 15 of the 19 top players in the state of Texas. And so the reason why is because I was doing the right thing before anybody else was. I was recruiting the best players at all positions, the best players, black or white. I didn't give a damn. And if I believe that's my philosophy. And if you don't believe in that, you need to coach for somebody else. You need to get another job, because that's what we're going to do. And that's what we did when I was head coach. And I played black quarterbacks in 1972 before the Southwest Conference or the SEC was even recruiting black players. And you know that. And anybody in Texas knows that. And they start to recruit skilled players, running backs like that, or receivers, but they weren't recruiting down linemen, offensive linemen, tight ends. They weren't doing that. And I was. And I think that was why I was so successful, is that people recognized, all communities recognized that that's what Oklahoma was. And they wanted the kids to come to school here.
Barry, you mentioned that first year with Jim McKenzie and you beat Texas. Was that, out of all the times, and you had, of course, the rivalry was unbelievable, was that the most satisfying one, or was there one later on that was even more satisfying?
No, my first year as a head coach, I came as assistant. The first year as head coach, I put half 100 on Texas. I didn't. Our team did. Our coaches and our team players put half 100 on Texas. And we beat them 51 to, I think, 13, something like that, in their first game as head coach. That was 1973. And beat them in 74, beat them in 75, and should have won 76, but we tied and we dropped the ball an extra point. Von Schaman, who was a blue chipper and played pro ball 8 years, he's a blue chipper out of Fort Worth, German sideline kicker, just come to the United States. He never missed an extra point, and he didn't kick that one because we followed the damn staff. And I know he would have hit it and win 176. So, but anyway, it's just one of those things. But in '84, we got robbed out of the damn game. It upsets me because Keith Stansberry intercepts a pass in the end zone and slides out of bounds in that downpouring rain in '84. And they call him out of bounds. Well, hell yeah, he's out of bounds. He slipped 4 or 5 yards. If we had if they had replay back then, and they would have said, without a doubt, they'd said, as soon as the referee looked at that, hell yeah, he walked away and said touchdown. And not touchdown, touchback, and we'd taken the ball out to the 20-yard line and dropped a knee, and the game would have been over and we'd won it. But they got one more play, they kicked a field goal and tied the game. I've always been upset by that.
I was going to bring that up, but I'm glad you did first, because I didn't know how you'd react. Those are
the two that bugged me, because I should have had the same record against Nebraska as I had against Texas, 11-5. That's what my record should have been. And but that's what we did against Osborne, and that's what I could have done against Texas. Should have done 11-5. But anyway, that's the way it works. What bounces.
If you don't mind, your thoughts about where college football is today. We saw what Vanderbilt did. You brought that up. Arkansas beating Tennessee. It's the rules are different. Everything's changed. Everything has changed. And your thoughts about where college football is today.
I'm glad that I'm not coaching today. I can tell you that right away. I'm glad I'm not in this. I don't want any 19-year-old kid walk in my office and say, "Well, you're going to pay me to keep you from getting in the portal." Now, how about that? They either got a damn agent or his parents want them to do it. I couldn't stomach that. But when I was recruiting back in the 60s and 70s, kids came to school to get an education. They knew they were going to be there 4 or 5 years, and they were going to play if they stayed. They're going to redshirt probably, and they're practice and get better. And they weren't in a hurry. They were there to get an education. Today they all think they're going to play pro football. They think they're going to make it in the league. And I'm going to tell you something. About 2% of them do, even today, when they're so selective in recruiting. So, and so many blue chippers out there going, getting in these schools around the country. And that's not going to make it. Just about 2% of you are. So anyway, I'm glad I'm not involved with it. I really can't answer to the NIL. I don't know what I can't even, I need to call someone and find out what is this ruling we've got with the judges here. Someone explain to me what this whole means.
What they're going to do, or at least they're trying to, and it's kind of been moved past the first hurdle after a long delay, is basically they're going to give money back to those players in the last certain amount of years that did not get any NIL or any type of benefits for their name, image, and likeness. Okay, that's kind of complicated, but people are going to get back pay, so to speak. Now, they're also then going to give teams the option of not only having still the NIL, but teams can spend up to bury $15, $20, $22 million in revenue sharing of the television money that schools are getting on top of what they're paying for the NIL. Like each school, like Tennessee, Oklahoma, Texas, Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, can spend up to, and they have the option, and they will, $22 million to disperse to players. And I don't know whether that's each year or if that is over a certain amount of 4 years.
I have no idea.
Yeah, but
I have no idea. It's unbelievable.
Is what we see now, though, with players being paid straight up, is that something that back in the 60s and 70s was done under the table?
Yeah, when I said what NIL means, people mention this, and I say, you know what NIL means? Now it's legal. Yeah. That's what it stands for. Yeah. Now it's legal. That's what NIL means. We did. Some schools did buy players. And Oklahoma, we didn't do it, and everybody that's kind of left-handed compliment. We didn't have to do it because why? We won championships. We're winning national championships. We won 9 straight Big 8 conference championships. We were a dominant football program, and good winning players want to come with good programs, and that's exactly what we were able to sell. And we did that. Once a kid was in my program, I treated him like he was one of my own. If he needed help, I was going to help him. Screw the NCAA. My kid needed help. I'm going to treat him like a father or mother would treat their own child and help their own child. And that's not give me $5 to go on a date or $10. Bullshit. You go work and make some damn money on your own and do that. But I'm talking about a real need, getting home to a funeral, supplying a kid somewhere that a kid came a long way to school here that he desperately needs to get home. His mother's in a car wreck or sick. I'm going to get their ass home. And that's what a father would do for his own child. And that's what I did. I did that, and I'm up to that. But that didn't give me an up on any other school because in recruiting, once they're in my family, they came there on their own, and then I'm going to help them once they're there. I did that. I didn't tell them I was going to help them, but that was the way I felt about it. That's the way I just ran my program and continued to do. And I still, that's the day. That's why I signed 200 or 300 damn Texas the other day on my birthday. I had a birthday. I was 87 years old the other day, and I got for 2 days. I had tried to write every one of them back. Every one of these players that I coached all text me. And happy birthday, coach. It's overwhelming to me. And I talked to a lot of them, and a lot of them call me. But coach is a daddy to a player. And when your player needs help or what's he going to do? First thing he does, he's going to call the coach, even if he has a daddy. Yep. I'm going to call the coach. Yep. And I've had that happen so many times through my years, and I've been out coaching for a long time since the '90s, the Cowboys, and it's still with me. When you recruit them, you got them for life. I've always said that, and they prove it too. Yeah,
you mentioned that you didn't have to do anything, but people accused Oklahoma or other schools of doing that. What was?
Yeah, they always do when you're kicking their ass and you out recruiting them and signing all the players. I out recruited. I promise you. But the coaches, I've been told, assistant coaches at other schools in the Southwest Conference, the head coach would break their home visit if they were following me in there the same night. Because a lot of time back in that time, you'd have a 7 o'clock meeting in the home and have a 9 o'clock meeting in the home if you had 2 players in the same town you're recruiting. And I've had assistant coaches tell me that their head coach didn't want to go in the home if he knew I was in there before. they were.
Oh, it's legendary.
He didn't want to be compared to them. Huh?
It was legendary. I read the book. I've read all. I've gotten to know you pretty well. Not as a great friend, but I consider you an unbelievable friend of the show and what we do and what you've done. I've heard what I've seen you personally do something for somebody that was getting horrible news and how you handled that, and unbelievable with my mother-in-law. And yeah, that's the first time I've heard your voice cracked a little bit when you talked about those former players. I I know how much you love them. I can imagine what that meant to you.
Yeah, it's means a lot. They're your family. You got them for life. I promise you.
Yeah.
And I saw them, but I had them for 5 years. I knew them. I spent more time with them off the field than I ever did on the field. They were here for 4 and 5 years, David. They were here. And they didn't leave. They weren't in a hurry. They didn't get in the damn portal and be out of here 1 year. You know what I mean? It's a different game today. And they talking about they want reparations for old players, old players. How about football coaches? I made $24,000 a year, and these bastards make $15, $16 million a year today. Hey, I made $24,000 a year and went 32-1-1 and 2 national championships. And I'm the one that needs reparations. Old football coaches need reparations. We can pay the damn thing.
You are amazing. Is this a huge moment for Oklahoma? They've kind of been up and down with Brent Venables. How much of a win would this mean to them? They won last year.
Oh my God! No one expects them to win, just like Alabama. They don't. Well, Oklahoma's has had a great program, and they're down some right now. Their offensive line's not very good. They don't have a running back. They haven't been able to run the football. They made a change to the quarterback, but they got a guy who can make plays now on his own. But it's his feet, he can run. He's got speed, and which he showed against Auburn. He went 50 yards for a touchdown on a play that wasn't designed. He outran everybody, split the safeties, and the way he went, and they couldn't run him down. So this is his first game to play since then. That's the Auburn game. He started a game away as a true freshman. He's a true freshman. So you're asking him to go play the number one team in the country, Texas, who is good on offense and defense, and win it. Hey, I'll be amazed if he can. I will totally be amazed if the kid does, and that means we'd have something for 3 or 4 years, like Alabama does. That quarterback they got is super and unbelievable.
Barry.
But anyway,
David, I know you got to go. I'm so sorry. I love you, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate your time.
Shut up. That's the problem you had. You got me earlier, and I wouldn't shut up. Be going.
Have a great week. Barry Switzer, the Hall of Famer, 365 Sports.